All right, well, thanks, everyone. I'll take a question or two. Do we got anyone back there in the...
Facility being built right now in South Florida. A couple things. One is the report is the state offers $20 million to the state land. The mayor of Miami gave one $190 million. Is there any chance to negotiate that at all?
They've been working on it. I think that response is more posturing for the stuff. So, but this is actually, it's a Collier-Dade airport that's there. We use it for emergencies. It isn't like we're creating something new. It's a way to do this in conjunction with the federal government, who's funding it in a way that is not going to have impacts on our broader community. When you have people, I mean, the sheriffs and the police chiefs, the jails, we can't have every illegal housed in our jails because we actually have non-illegals who need to be housed there when they commit crimes too. So if you're doing the immigration enforcement, and you're putting people, and there is a process to it, so they have to go. So if they're temporarily held, then they can be repatriated to their home country. That takes burdens away from the state of Florida and for Florida residents. But this has been an airport there that I think our goal is, if we do buy it, we will probably eventually just eliminate it and try to, let the Everglades grow over it. But it's been there for a while and it's been used. And so we had a request from the federal government to do it. And so Alligator, Alcatraz it is. And so you will see that be done. You will have, it'll be a force multiplier. It'll help DHS. It'll help our state and local law enforcement with relieving some burden on resources. We'll probably also do something similar up at Camp Blanding, which is where our National Guard headquarters to train there. We have some capacity there. So Kevin Guthrie, Division of Emergency Management, are working on that. So we'll have a formal announcement on both of those very, very quickly.
What about the environmental concerns? Some people think it's going to hurt.
There's zero environmental. I mean, you're talking about the guy that's plowed how much money into Everglades restoration? Why would I want to do anything that would do? In fact, Ben Albritton and I had to fight to get Everglades fully funded. The original House budget print in the Florida House cut $500 million out of Everglades restoration. I called for, we did $1 billion more my first 4 years than the previous 4. We're exceeding that by leaps and bounds in these 4. And it's made a difference. We're going to be doing the ribbon cutting for the C-43 reservoir over on the western side of Lake Okeechobee. Huge project. We did the stormwater treatment part of the EAA reservoir ahead of schedule, which is south of Lake Okeechobee. We did the C-44 reservoir. The feds haven't done their part on that, and they haven't done their part on the southern part of the reservoir. We've got a lot of resources in the budget to continue the momentum. So we will do it. It will have zero impact. This is an airport that's already there. Clearly, from a security perspective, if someone escapes, there's a lot of alligators you're going to have to contend. No one's going anywhere, once you do that. It's as safe and secure as you can be. And it's just like we do in storms and hurricanes. It isn't like we're going to start doing permanent sewer and all. It's all temporary. We set it up. We break it down. This isn't the first rodeo. This thing's been used a bunch of times over many, many years. And so the impact will be zero. And that's in keeping with our policy to do really historic Everglades restoration. I think people are they're trying to use the Everglades as a pretext just for the fact that they oppose immigration enforcement. I mean, let's be clear. That's where you are on the far left now. They don't want the laws enforced at all, and you're seeing that with some of the demonstrations and some of the other things. And you have a right to have that view, but that is not the policy of the United States of America. That is not the policy of the state of Florida. So I think the capacity that will be added there will help the overall national mission. It will also relieve some burdens off our state and local folks who are required to participate under the law that we passed in the special session at the beginning of the year. And remember, I called for that special session right on the heels of President Trump's, actually before his inauguration, because we knew this was going to be a front burner issue. We knew we had to lead the way. And particularly the leadership in the House of Representatives really fought us on that and initially said, oh, it's premature. We can just deal with it in the regular session. First of all, that would have been many months later. and that would have lost time. Second of all, it would not have gotten done in the regular session. I can tell you that. Had we not called that special session, the immigration legislation, which now President Trump's administration is telling other states to emulate, that would not have gotten done. And so it's, it's important that we're leading the way on this. I think it's going to ultimately, be the case that other states start to follow through a little bit more, like Florida is. But I'll tell you, I thought you'd have a lot of states lining up immediately right after we did our legislation, and you didn't really have it as much. And I think maybe it's just people got confused about what was being done in Florida because there was static in the system at that time with the opposition. But eventually the plane landed, and so this will be. But this is fully funded by the federal government. So I'm a big believer that we need to enforce our laws. The resources that we've brought to bear on doing things like that, like for example, on helping supplement the Coast Guard's interdiction efforts off our coasts. Now, it's not as much here in the Tampa Bay area, but if you go down Jupiter, Palm Beach, the Keys, you'll have people running boats. Illegals will come in boats from Haiti, from Cuba, from Bahamas, and I can tell you when we interdict those, there are sometimes drugs, there's sometimes explosives, there's sometimes firearms. So that's obviously not something we want people coming illegally, getting dumped on our coast and then bringing a bunch of contraband. So we did Operation Vigilant Sentry, a year or two ago, and we've been, just because of Florida's efforts, we've turned 18,000 illegals over the Coast Guard for repatriation during that time. And so that requires us to expend resources, but I think that that is very well spent. Would you rather have had those 18,000 wash up on the shores of Florida? And even if they don't mean any harm, then you're responsible basically, and they become public charges effectively, which is not what we want either. So I'm somebody that I think it's a good use. If you're a law and order state, that's across the board. But on this mission, this is something that was requested by the federal government, and this is something that the federal government is going to fully fund. And so from a state taxpayer perspective, we are implementing it. We have guys that are going to be doing the work and the logistics because we're very good at that, but that will be fully reimbursed by the federal government. Okay, thanks everybody. God bless.